Hi, this is Thomas with Believe in the Run.
This is Meaghan with Believe in the Run.
And we are holding the most anticipated shoe of 2024, the Asics
Superblast
2.
It's back by popular demand, and I guess because you just make another shoe the next year. And the updates are, I would say, minimal, but really great.
Yes, it's definitely a slight improvement. This one's one of those shoes where I don't know if I would call it a 2, because, you know, Asics does that thing with like their speed shoes where it's just like, it's not like the 2, it had like the Plus. So this might be what I would call a Superblast Plus. It's got little tweaks that make it a better version than the last version, but it's not a complete overhaul of the shoe, which is good news for those of you who love the Superblast.
Yeah, if you liked the original, you're definitely gonna like version 2 of this shoe. But let's talk about some of the updates that did happen. So the upper here is now a new mesh engineered upper. Previously, it was the same upper in their race shoe.
With the motion wrap?
The motion wrap. So it was just a little bit thinner, not as much structure to it, and it didn't have that like daily trainer lockdown feel.
So you're coming in with this one and you've got more of a padded tongue. You've got a nice traditional heel counter. Very good. You actually sit down on the foam here in the back, so it's pretty stable. They use some of those filaments up here in the front to keep it open, light, and very breathable. I thought the upper fits really nicely. People are wondering about sizing on it, Meg.
I went with my normal women's 7.5, and I think it fits great.
Yes. So previously in the Superblast original, I went with a size 10. They kind of fixed the sizing, so I'm back in a 10.5 in this one. Now it does make a little bit of a difference in the weight from where I was to this one, but overall, this fits true to size now at a size 10.5. You don't need to size down. I guess since I brought up weight, should we talk about that before we get in the foam? Sure. All right, so it did go up slightly. What is it, 0.3?
Mine, there was a 0.2 difference in mine. So this is now a women's 7.5, which is 7.5 ounces, or I believe it's 214 grams. My previous version was 7.3 ounces. So just slightly heavier, but I think totally worth it when you look at this more comfortable, more structured upper.
So my size 10.5 came in at 9.3 ounces or 263 grams. And it's still in that lighter daily trainer range. And it's funny that we say that because we just reviewed a different shoe that was around 9.9. I was saying it's getting a little heavy because it's getting close to 10.
Well, you also have to keep in mind here, you have 45 millimeters of stack in the heel here. So you have a ton of cushion underfoot, 37 in the forefoot, just tons of foam.
Do that math.
You do it. Tons of foam underfoot. And so when you think about the weight, including that, it's definitely very light.
It's an 8mm drop there, Meg. It's kind of weird because you're like, why do people love this shoe so much? Because it doesn't, like if you get it out of the box and you've heard all the hype and you're like, oh, let's get this shoe, you're not gonna be like, wow, and when you try it on. But this foam here kind of is dynamic and it kind of changes on you over the course of your running. So what we have here is the Flytefoam Turbo Plus, which is the same foam that's in their race day, the Metaspeed Sky Paris, Metaspeed Edge Paris. So you're getting that same new foam that has a little more give than the previous Turbo, has a little more softer feel, is that what you say?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of my major complaints with the original Superblast was that it did need that break-in period, whereas this shoe, you put it on, you go for a run, and it feels like it's a broken-in version 1.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I wanted to get across to people. I don't feel like there's a huge difference in the underfoot feel of the shoe. It still has that same kind of like firm but responsive foam underfoot. It's not gonna like wow you with like bouncing off, but what it does is I think that the longer you're in this shoe, the more you develop a relationship with it. And I think that's why it's become such a hit with people is you start putting miles on it and you're like, okay, this feels all right. And then you start feeling like, okay, I can pick up the pace in this. Cushioning is right. It's not too soft, not too firm. And I do disagree with you a little bit. I think it does break in over the miles and does even get a little bit more flexible, a little bit softer. And then we didn't even talk about the Flytefoam Blast Plus.
Some of that softness is coming from this Flytefoam Blast Eco, which is the layer here in the bottom. And then of course you have the ASICSGRIP on the outsole here to sort of complete the shoe. And yeah, I just feel like this is one of those shoes that you can do all of your miles in. If I wasn't reviewing shoes, I would probably be lacing this one up day after day. In fact, when I first got it, I wore it every day for several days, and I logged 40 miles in, half of a week just because I wanted to wear this shoe.
Yeah, and is the ASICSGRIP new?
Yes. So this is new, and the ASICSGRIP is like what they put on their trail shoes and is like super grippy. So really great with traction, so far very durable. Yeah, definitely get a lot of miles out of this.
You can go long in this shoe. You can go fast and short in this shoe. I've worn the previous version for a marathon. I really love this shoe. I would use the Metaspeed Edge Paris for race day, use this for all my training. But again, if I didn't want to try to go after it in the marathon, this one would be like a great marathon choice as well. So while the price is a little steeper, I do think this shoe provides a ton of value in just the fact that you can have one shoe to do everything that you need.
Yeah, I mean, it feels just as good and fresh after mile 1 as mile 15. So I think you could easily do a marathon in this shoe or any of your long runs in training. And yeah, it's just a solid update.
And speaking of like durability and length of time that you can run in it, I never really killed my Superblast before. It never died out. I obviously, when we're reviewing shoes, I'm not going to get as many miles as somebody else who's going to just destroy the shoe. But I have pairs with over 300 miles on them, and they still feel really good. And as a matter of fact, when I got these, I put them back on just to see if I could feel the difference in the shoe. It still feels pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious here that the Superblast 2 is getting a green light. It's a great shoe. Price point has stayed the same at $200. The updates are minimal but really nice. It just feels like a broken-in version of the original and just a little bit softer, a little bit more responsive, and a more comfortable upper.
Yeah, I have to hand it to ASICS. A lot of times shoe companies will get a hit
and
then they try to change it, and the next thing you know, it's disaster. This one, if you love the first version, you're gonna love this version. A lot of people do love the original Superblast, so if you were one of those people, do not be afraid. Go out, get yourself a pair of these, and you will be satisfied. All right, so if you enjoyed this review, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. All right, we've also got 2 podcasts, The Drop and Fuel for the Soul. Drop comes out on Fridays and Mondays. Fuel for the Soul is every other week or so on Tuesdays, right, Meg?
That's it.
All right, and the best way to stay in touch with everything is to subscribe to the email where we have everything laid out for you, easily to read and all that stuff. Click on links, anything you want. You good?
That's it.
All right, bam. Go out, get yourself a pair of these, and you will be satisfied.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, I'm giving it a green as well.
That was definitely already said.
Oh, I did? All right.